Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Krishna Mukherjee from ET Edge, welcoming you to this edition of ET Unwired, preparing for the future with secure, connected digital experience powered by Tata Communications and Cisco. Unprecedented change brings both new challenges and opportunities. So, how are you gearing up for the future with secure, connected digital experience? Ladies and gentlemen, our today's discussion would revolve around collaboration, data-driven platform, digitizing legacy workflows, reinventing customer. The first half of the session would see a fireside chat between Sarang Shah, Regional Manager, Collaboration and Contact Center Practice, Cisco, Vaibhav Pant, Systems Engineering Manager, Sales Collaboration, Cisco, and Rajesh Purkhaista, Head of Pre-Sales, India Chat and Maker Communication. And it would be moderated by Firoz Khan, Partner and Head Digital Advisory, KPM India. And it would also witness an interesting discussion with our guest speaker, Mr. Devdutt Patnaik. Mr. Patnaik would be throwing light on the modern day collaboration and its relevance with mythology. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a very power-packed session throughout today and without questions. So with that, over to you, Firoz. Thank you.
Panelists first, so I'll not spend time in terms of introducing them, but do wanna highlight that since we have Raj with us, Sarang and Vaibhav, and all of these three people are stalwarts in their own domain, and then definitely I see a lot of value by having a discussion and chat with them, so that how do we really take advantage of their perspective. Krishna, I mean, the topic which you people gave is an interesting topic. And when we say how do we really secure the connected digital experience, that itself is a very broad and wider topic. And, there's all the reason to say this thing that during this pandemic, post-COVID, this has become all the most important for all organizations to think about the connected digital experience. The day we entered lockdown, I think all of you will agree with me is this: almost all business except for few are struggling, and they are struggling in various senses. So they are struggling to meet the supply and demand. This pandemic, they are struggling to the way how they operate, the way they collaborate, the way they compete with each other. And all this has happened why? Because this sudden change has brought in this challenge, and not only challenge, with every challenge I think you will agree that there's an opportunity also which comes, which gets emerged from this. And the other thing which I want to highlight over here is this, that this challenge also brings in a lot of change in the business, and this change itself is unparalleled. And the organization, if you see how are they tackling or grappling with this issue, so obviously they are adopting a lot of emerging tech, they are adopting a new ways of working, they are adopting a new operating model, just to make sure that their vision and the purpose of the business really gets realized. And to me it looks like there are three most important things which will really ensure this connected digital experience. And if I have to name these three as per my experience as a practitioner, I'll say, definitely it needs a connected digital workplace, which is very important to start with. And when I say digital workplace, it's primarily the, how do we really ensure that employees who used to work from office delivers the same experience or output or productivity in terms of working from home also. So that's really important to ensure the connected digital workplace. The other most important thing which I feel is the personalized customer experience. And this comes from the sense, be it B2B, be it B2C, we really need to make sure that how do we really ensure that customer experience not only at an omni-channel level, but even at a multi-channel level also, so that we collaborate, communicate in a very seamless way. And third important thing which I say, which is very important and interesting, because in fact I've read a lot of analyst report also in this, which talks about customer of the future. And when I say customer of the future, it's like how do we really make sure that the customer experience which we deliver in the organization, that takes you to the next level in terms of the performance, in terms of revenue, in terms of data. So all these three things are really, really important. And the other thing which I just want to link with this is, since COVID, all of the organization or enterprise, if we talk about, they are heavily, heavily reliant on to the adoption of the workforce technology, or the adoption of the technology which really, really helps them move their work onto a remote infrastructure, which needs the underlying network, which needs the underlying data center, which needs the underlying technology, which then only this really comes to life. And then only we will really ensure that the work from home, or the remote working, or the customer experience, what I'm talking about, that really gets fructified. Now here, let's hear from the expert, because in fact, in the morning only I was having a chat with Raj. And Raj, so I want to come to you, because we were having a discussion offline, and you brought in a very right point, that it's not about only one technology. It's basically how do we really collaborate, so that when we go to a market, to a client, to solve a client problem, it's not like we are only selling a product or a service. It's basically, it's an offering, or it's an experience which we want to bring to the client, and that becomes very important. And since you come from Tatacom, and you work so closely with Cisco, wherein the offerings which you bring to the table is really unique, really, really innovative. And I'm glad to say this thing, that this collaboration which you have, this is one of the, I'll say biggest in the subcontinent. So let me help get an understanding from you, that how do you think these two things coming together really adapt to a new normal in order to stay productive and ensure that continuity in the business? So can you throw some light? Can you really bring something to life by means of examples, or what you have done, so that the audience gets benefited?
Sure. Absolutely, Firoz. It's a pleasure always to talk to you. The kind of things that you bring on the table in terms of your discussions with other customers. It's always good to hear from you, and and also great to talk to Vaibhav. We have a very long relationship with Cisco in terms of what we've been doing in the country, right? So if I can just take a step back. If you think about the way our relationship with Cisco started was, in early 2000s, when MPLS really came into the country, and we started deploying, routers and routing from an MPLS topology from that angle, right? From there on, we have worked, regularly with Cisco, not only for new products, but also to see what else can we do with the customer. And as Cisco went into the collaboration world, it was a natural choice for us to collaborate together, to bring collaboration to the market, right? And here is where, Firoz, the interesting things come in. And I'm sure Vaibhav can also talk about it. See, product as a standalone, cannot deliver to business benefits. So, for example, a smartphone has immense number of functions and functionalities, right? As a user, if I do not know all of them, and for me, it's extremely difficult to know all the features. What I'll do is I'll use a phone very suboptimally. Now, as when you talk to Cisco, you'd understand that Cisco as a platform is extremely powerful, right? It has features and functionalities which can really, really help you, and I'm sure Vaibhav can showcase a few of them, which will really blow your mind, in terms of the kind of things that Cisco can do. Many a times what happens is that you don't know them, and therefore, you do not enjoy them in a proper manner. Also, what happens is when you think about the COVID situation itself, right? And interestingly, what happened is that during the COVID situation, we saw a few things emerging, and Firoz, you talked about it some time back. That the customers were thinking about a few things in the next 1 to 3 years. Suddenly, they said, "Hey guys, I can't wait 3 years. I have to do it now." And all those things were hurried back in 3 months, right? Specifically when it comes to collaboration, specifically when it comes to cloud, because people were sitting at home, and you had to connect with them, you had to collaborate. And there is where suddenly, it emerged that a company has like, at least 5 or 6 different collaboration clouds, right? How to bring them together, how to bring every user on a common platform so that they can work seamlessly. They don't have to think about, if I pick up a phone, can I really get a dial tone? If I do if I look at a presence, can I really see if that person is on a meeting or not? Because you're in different systems, can I bring everybody together? And when I'm bringing everybody together, will the users understand what they're doing or not? Was the challenges for a whole lot of companies, and that is what we solved with Cisco for a lot of customers, right? And there are I can name a whole lot of customers in the subcontinent itself, starting from our own group companies like Tata IQ, or companies like Simrise, who has benefited immensely from this implementations per se. And that is only because I'd say the close collaboration and the work that we do between us and Cisco, wherein it's never about features and functionality, right? There are a lot of players out there. There are a lot of products which will give you those features and functionalities, but understanding what the user wants and delivering to that use case in a manner which kind of adds value is what we've been trying to do. So that's about it, Feroz. I thought I'll give
That's
that perspective.
fantastic. I mean, that's quite insightful the way you have explained this, which really highlights the importance of collaboration. And it's good that we have Vaibhav, with us. And in fact, I was just having I was constantly watching Vaibhav, and I was seeing his kid coming in and out. And this reminds me of one thing. See, all of us, we never imagined that this pandemic will hit, and if we would have imagined, so I'm sure everyone would have created a jazzy office in their own home. No one did that. And I think every one of us will agree that each and every one of us does this call in their bedroom or something like that. Otherwise we would have created a good jazzy library, equipment, this, that, and all. And that reminds me that how do I deal with these scenarios at home? Like I see Vaibhav's son coming in and sort of disturbing him. So Vaibhav, over to you. Like how do you handle the scenario through technology? What is there? How do I really get this going in a seamless way which ensures that experience? So over to you. Would like to hear your perspective.
Yeah, so nobody was prepared for this, so that is absolutely true. And then at the same point of time, we've got responsibilities not only towards the organizations, towards the company that we are working for, but also towards our home. How do we balance? And that's where we've come out with some innovative ideas. So but technology apart, there is this broad-based consensus that we have to put our families. We are occupying their space. For example, I'm occupying my son's space over there, and at the same point of time, because I feel it's so I tried all the things when the pandemic hit, bedrooms and drawing rooms and sofas, and then you walk from one problem into the other, which is you end up having problems to your back, to your neck, stooping over a laptop. That's frankly not what we want to do, and bad health results in a bad productivity. So that is very much true. So I got my table over here, and then I had to encroach upon my son's space. So I could not obviously take this away. At the same point of time, it's sometimes disturbing. People keep on wondering, why are there so many Amitabh Bachchan's photos, and what is this statue that I'm preparing? So what I do is usually I take aid from the technology, which is that I can just put up a virtual background. So what happens is that instead of changing anything physically, I transform my background. So once I have that aid with me, I can transform the background so that it is less obtrusive. So as you can see now, I have got a lounge, I've got a green color woods out there. And then when my son pops up, it's there. But then that's only if the face. So if he's not showing his face, and if you turn it around, he becomes invisible. So we are not gonna unnecessarily do away with the faces. So faces are got to be recognized, but then we are taking out the clutter from the background. At the same point of time, we also understand that there will be sounds. Usually, usually I'm next to the kitchen, so if there's a pressure cooker going on, it causes disturbance. So what I'm going to do is show you some of the innovative things that we are going to do on the audio side as well. We've recently announced the intent to acquire a company called as Babel Labs. Babel Labs, if you do a Google on it, you will find they're very good at sound, which means to say they understand noise, they understand sound, they remove the noise, and then have this noise suppression or noise cancellation technology. Let me show you how it works. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and of course you can see all of you. I am also going to show you the microphone that I'm using. So I've got the settings over here. I'm doing this specifically to demonstrate what's happening. So I've got this microphone which I'm using, and my son is now taking lessons in playing the mouth organ. And if he starts playing it, usually it causes disturbance. Now it can be anywhere, but then what I do is I use technology. Once I turn on the ClearEdge technology, you will be able to only hear me and not the mouth organ that he's playing. I will just turn it on again so that you know that he's playing the sound. It does it passionately, but then I don't want view people, and I'm reverting back to the ClearEdge, and I am back to getting a smooth audio over here. So thanks, Rishabh. These are some of the innovative things that we are doing. And we've also got devices which are much more. So the power users, the executives who would want to have a very good experience at their home, a full high definition quality. See, ultimately, I have to depend upon the capabilities of the camera. I can be only as good as the camera is. But if I've got not a high definition camera, if my speakers are not good, I'm not going to get a good experience. And especially, well, we could get into meetings which are going to take a long time, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. We've got a solution for that as well. We've got a device called as the Desk Pro. We've recently launched it. It is called as a Desk Pro. You can do a Google and you will find how very good it is. I'll just show you a feature of the Desk Pro. I had got my colleague with whom I was in a call a few days ago, and I'm playing a YouTube recording of what we had done at that point of time. So this is her over here. I've muted the audio so that you don't focus on the audio. She's from Singapore, by the way. Now she's using her presentation as a backdrop. So when she's talking, she can relate to things that are happening at the back end. Now we can take it to the next level where she can also switch places on the presentation. For example, she is occupying a large amount of space herself. Now she's gone to the side. Isn't that cool? So she can explain this, the content much more better, and then she can switch sides as well. So this is really cool, and this is really good for people who are really power users. And I think the media industry will also use this technology so that because even the hosts are at house, isn't it? They are not going to the studios. So we are going to get a large number of use cases. Another thing, we don't have time to demonstrate that, but we've got something called as a music mode. So people who are taking guitar lessons, online piano lessons, singing lessons, they can use the music mode, which gives a much more better audio as compared to a normal experience that you will get. So Cisco is adopting, and this adaptation is to enable people to carry on their work in whatever environment. It may be business, it may be entertainment, anything.
And that's so cool. So in fact, when you say virtual background, yes, at least I knew about virtual background, but I never knew about this piano thing which you did. That was a magic to me, and I'm sure many people would not know about this. But then that's really cool and jazzy, and it's less than a coolness or the jazziness. I'll say this is really going to transform that experience what we are talking about, specifically the future workplace. And these are the things which are really going to change the business dynamics, which does not only brings that connected experience if you talk about, but even brings that productivity and that easiness to work from home. So very really innovative. Also really innovative. Now this gives me all the reason to go back to Sarang. So Sarang, let me come to you. You have seen how Vaibhav, demonstrated that piano thing, which was really cool, the virtual thing. He spoke about things which are really going to transform this. My question to you, and more of a question, like I want to hear your perspective. Like, do you really see that these things are going to have a long-term impact post COVID also, or again things will go back to the old shape and how do we really balance that remote and the office culture? So is it temporary only from the COVID per se, or this experience is going to be beyond COVID, wherein the balance of the work from home and balance from office working, everything will come to life? So would like to hear your view, Sarang.
Yeah, hey, thanks, Firoz. Firoz, a lot has already been said about this in the media. Very senior people from the industry have spoken about it, right? Uh, Most of the large ITS companies, even in the manufacturing world, people are saying they have figured out a new way of running the organization, right? And depending upon the segment, people have quoted numbers. There are some segments who have said that now we realize that at any point of time, at least 25% of my workforce can work from home, right? Which means I'm going to save on real estate, I'm going to save on travel time, I'm going to save on increased productivity, give more hours to the customer for his personal, to employees, more personal time to the employees, so employees' health, etc., mental health, everything will improve, right? So I think the world as such has reinvented uh, the way to work, right? So I clearly see that beyond, and this is clearly coming from customer interactions. I'm not a philosopher to or a very senior executive in the industry to claim things, but we will typically as sales guys interact with multiple customers every day. And what I hear from customers is that at least 25 to 30% of the workforce in most of the segments would eventually work from home. People who really don't have a need to go to office, right? Who can execute things from their laptops, from working from home, right? Would continue to work from home because that gives them more, increases productivity, gives them more personal time. And eventually, what is also happening, Firoz, is tools, gadgets, equipments that one needs to support and increase efficiency for work from home are getting developed. Like Weibo demonstrated few things, right? I actually wanted Weibo to also speak about the thing that Cisco is doing on the education piece, right? Uh, so that's very interesting, right? So till now, the industry has been consuming, as you rightly know, most of the education stuff is happening from home today, right? So teachers are at home, students are at home, most of them log in into some platform. I don't want to get into which platform, right? Whether it is WebEx or in some kind of web conferencing, and the education is delivered, right? Content is delivered, right? But then this is a very cumbersome way of doing things because students really have to figure out each and every link. Now, this is the link for a history class. This is the link for English class. This is the link for a maths class, and so on and so forth, right? So they have to maintain their own calendar, right? So instead of they maintaining the, and similarly, teachers have to maintain their own calendar and say, I'm going to conduct so many classes, this will be my participants. So this is all very hectic, even from managing the calendar point of view. So what Cisco is doing, Cisco is creating some kind of an LMS within the platform itself, wherein teachers will be able to create their own schedule. Participants would be, that students will be able to see that schedule and enroll themselves for respective classes. If they miss a class, the recording will be available on the screen there and there itself, in their access, right? And so on and so forth. So we are creating a custom platform for education purpose. I think this platform should go live in the next. You want to comment on when do we GA this platform?
Yeah. In about 2 months or so, we will have the solution GA'd, which is to say availability for people to just buy it and start using it. Now, again, I would want to demonstrate it. It's always good to demonstrate things so that you can also, and then again, going back to YouTube, because you can also refer these offline. So what happens over here is this is the WebEx classroom. Now we've got a quite good intuitive portal. Now here is the login for a teacher. A teacher can see the class schedule. I'll just go back a step over here. you can see all the class schedule. You can click onto one of the lectures that is happening, and you can join into that lecture. You can have a separate login for the teacher and a separate login for the students. Now, why do we have that? Because we understand that the student will maybe just want to join a existing classroom or the one that has been scheduled. Or I want to schedule a one-on-one session. Like what happens is after the normal lectures, a student usually goes into the staff room and seeks audience from the teacher to clear his or her own doubts. For the teacher, a teacher may want to schedule a virtual session basis his or her availability. So what you can see is from here itself, the teacher can set up a meeting, which is nothing but a class, a virtual class, and that automatically is being seen by all the other people. So this is what Cisco Classroom will do. I will request you to see the details on the YouTube. It's already there. I've not enabled the audio from the YouTube. This is because I want to tell you, focus on the important points over here. So don't worry, I saw some questions about audio not being played from the YouTube. I've switched it off. The other thing that we are going to do, as Sarang mentioned, is that we are going to see people coming to office as well. Now we are going to focus on making the office environment secure as well. So here is another video that I want to show you. Just a minute, huh? Let me play this video over here. So what happens is we've made this video to depict a typical office scenario that you will face.
For more than 2 instructors in the course, and I can see the times that are available to meet with each of them for office hours. Let's take a look at the instructor view. The instructor view is quite similar to the student view.
Just give me a moment. I will play this video separately over here, and I will try to turn on the audio as well. So just give me a moment. By the way, I explore you to you should explore this video that is there on YouTube. So this is a guy who wanna go to work. I will skip to the important aspect over here.
There's a one button to put it. After all, logging into WebEx because it trusts WebEx Classroom and automatically launches my meeting.
Give me a minute. I think I have played 2 sessions.
So Vaibhav, why don't you explain this and 2 or 3 important features of this concept, right? Rather than playing the entire video.
Yeah, the most important feature is the capability for you to walk into a room, and then you will get messages about what's happening in your organization today. For example, you might get a message about the changes that you've made to employee check-ins. You want to scan your face, you want to take the temperature, or if there is any alert that you want to make people aware of. For example, that you're gonna do some changes to the office cleaning in the next 2 days. So that would be popping up on all the screens, which we call it as a digital signage. The other thing that we are gonna do is when you walk into conference rooms, in order to join into meeting, you don't have to touch anything. You can use voice
Commands.
You can just use your voice commands to talk to people. You can tell the device, I'm using the word tell the device, because you don't have to remember the correct syntax, etc. You just go and stand in the system and use the word keyword is OK WebEx. Now that's the keyword, like we've got for Alexa, we've got for Siri. Similarly, we use the word keyword OK WebEx. And then you just say, start my meeting or join my meeting or connect my meeting. Whatever words you use, you end up doing the same thing, that your meeting automatically starts.
So basically what we're saying is we have voice enabled the video endpoints. So in a pandemic where people want to use sanitizer very often, they don't want to touch devices because they're a little concerned about someone else using the device. What we're saying is you just stay away from the device. You'll be able to do all activities by giving voice commands. So you can just say, OK, WebEx, start my meeting. So since your calendar is synced with the video endpoint, it will start your meeting. It knows which meeting to start. Then you can say, OK, WebEx, share my presentation. So they know exactly what presentation is available on your laptop, which you have you can open the presentation on the laptop and the content will be shared on WebEx, right? Then you can say stop the presentation and so on. So there are simple commands which you can use to engage with the video endpoint and drive the entire video conferencing without touching the endpoint or the controller or the remote and so on.
Correct.
So that's really cool, Sarang, because what I understood from yourself and what I understood from Vaibhav, the way he demonstrated, is two things are clearly evident. One, definitely there's a lot of tech and emerging tech changes which is happening for good. And second, when we take a lens of the industry vertical, so like you gave a very good example of EdTech, education technology. We never, thought about a paradigm shift or a change of education or the online education which is happening today. And this has happened all due to the cool things which just now Weber spoke about and the experience which you spoke about. So really, these are the things which are going to change the dynamics of the, the connected experience which we are talking about. But this gives me all the reason to understand, and again I will go back to Raj. Raj, wanna hear from you, because you have seen that we spoke about education technology, that how it is changing. You saw that how voice command is really changing this. Now, net, what are we telling? That it needs the technology, the emerging tech, but then it even needs a new thought process, a new infrastructure, or let's say a new strategy altogether. Now, let me ask you. I'm sure that you deal with so many clients, and you'd have seen this. See, what has happened is this: most of the organization or most of the enterprise, they are either planning to move their unified communication and the entire telco infrastructure to cloud due to various reasons, like the one which we have seen this, and obviously the value gets associated to this. My question is this: that we have seen Cisco doing so many things. You spoke about Tatacom doing so many innovations with Cisco. So my question is this: together, both of you, what are your plannings in terms of adoption of the cloud? Have you thought about this, or is it that you are already working something on this, or something is already there in the planning? So can you share some light on this, Raj?
Sure. Very good question, and very very pertinent to the situation of today, right? So Firoz, if you think about yesteryears or not even yestermonths deployment, wherein there were a lot of implementation in the office from a voice perspective, whether you talk about a PBX or a cloud, which is in the office itself. Pandemic also taught customers one thing, that if it is within the office premise, who is going to manage it? How will you send engineers back to your office? Is it really safe for them? Is that person even available? Because a lot of people actually went back home, and that home may not be in the office in the same location as where the office is, right? People actually went back from Delhi to Jammu, for example, because they were from Jammu. So the point is that the right strategy is the first question. The second question is also about what Vaibhav and Sarang, showcase, right? There are so many new things which is emerging. Will an on-prem deployment be able to cope up to the new requirements per se? Now, what Vaibhav showed is a tip of the iceberg. There are so many new things that Cisco is doing, right? There's so many new features that Cisco is bringing in, and those features will need a lot of new compute, a lot of changes per se, which can be then implemented for the users, right? Because I'm sure if it was what you saw today itself, you'll go back to somebody in your organization and say that, can I have that, what I saw Vaibhav showing. Now, it's not going to be a simple click and everything done. There has to be a few changes that needs to be done. If it is in the cloud, it's actually a click for the customer, right? Because then all the complexities is on us, on the service provider. What the customer enjoys is the end service. But if you are managing everything yourself on-prem, then the entire complexity is on you. including the fact that you'll have to look at how can you make it scalable, flexible, etc., etc. So therefore, what we are more and more seeing is also customers shifting to cloud and believing in the cloud journey more rather than focusing on an on-prem per se, because on-prem and cloud has its own ways and means of or as its own places. But COVID actually taught everyone that hey, let's just look at cloud, because it's better for flexibility and scalability, specifically when you look at this kind of a situation, which Firoz, I'm sure everybody now has to consider a possibility of happening again. God forbid, and God bless that it doesn't. But what if it happens again, right? We have to be prepared. So that's where we are, Firoz.
And it's very important, because flexibility is the word which you have said. Yes, scalability and flexibility is required, because no matter whatever technology we talk about, no matter the voice command we talk about, but if it is not scalable and flexible, obviously that becomes a hindrance. So very valid point which you have brought, Raj. In interest of time, what I'll do is this, that we have very limited time. So let me summarize what I heard, because it was a very interesting discussion, and I'm sure if we can go on for hours and hours and hours, but time is a constraint. So what I heard yourself, Raj, then Sarang brought in a very valuable input in terms of the experience side. Vaibhav have shown so much cool stuff in terms of the demo. So end of the day, what I see is this, that yes, when we talk about that secure, connected, digital experience, it is important. So experience is important, and it's not only from the per se of the customer, but even as a user, that how do you give that experience. So if we talk about an employee, if we talk about an employer, if we talk about the channel partners, what is that experience which we are bringing to the table by using these technologies. And second is this, we all come in from a different generation altogether, which has a different behavior. Gone are the days wherein we used to go to office. Now we carry office with us. So all our mobile itself is office. I mean, we have seen these demos and all. So that means all this WebEx, what we are talking about, we are carrying our office in the pocket. So that experience of that omni-channel and multi-channel, which is anytime and anywhere, has to be there. There's no doubt in it. And obviously, when I talk about that experience, and when you guys highlighted about that, the customer and the user part, it is paramount important that security and safety has to be ensured. And this is not only from the side of technology, but even we have to make sure that the people or the employees or the the workforce we are using it, how do we really ensure that security, safety and security of that. That's the other part. And obviously the innovation has to happen. So these innovations is only going to really take it to next level. So this is how I summarize. Now before I take a pause on it, would definitely like to take some of the questions, because I'm sure audience would have given so many questions, and it makes all the sense to sort of answer these questions for their benefit. So let me take a couple of the questions, and again, in interest of time, we will not be able to take many, but let me take a couple of it, and feel free to chime in if you. So one question which has come is this: the audience is telling, in fact, how do we choose the the unified communication provider for the organization, and how Tata Communication is adding value to the WebEx? So Raj, I think you are the right person to take this question.
Sure. See, there are a lot of when you look at the UC market, it's really crowded, right? And there are a whole lot of players in the market which you can choose from. However, as I see it, is every organization has to take a longer call, right? And when I look at Cisco, the reason why we partnered with Cisco is because of the belief that we have in Cisco, that they're going to put that money in the R&D, they're going to put that money in the new things that will matter, right? And that is what you saw in even today's presentation. In terms of, it's not a standstill product that we have some good new cool features, and it'll be there like this for the next 10 years. That's not going to help anyone, because the user requirements are constantly shifting. So that is where I believe WebEx and Cisco as a platform is the right choice for a lot of companies. The second is why Tata Communications. Now what Tata Communications brings to the table is what I told you. You know, it's a very simple thing, but extremely powerful. Any new technology, and Firoz, I'm sure you have seen this from and heard this from a lot of CIOs. Any new technology, when it is deployed, deployment is not the toughest part. Adoption is extremely tough, right? For people to adopt new technologies is very difficult. And adoption of new technologies come by telling the users that what are you going to get out of it? What's in it for you, right? What's WIFM is extremely important. That is where Tatacom comes in. We do not only deploy it, but specifically in case of collaboration, we help customers in adoption, the adoption journey. And once the adoption is made, we don't stop there. As new technologies come in, as new features emerge, as new topologies and use cases come in, we go back to the customer and say that, hey, there's a new thing which is coming. Do you want to look at it, right? Also, you know, I don't know how you know, if there are existing customers of Tatacom in this call, I'm sure they can tell you that in the pandemic situation, we have done express delivery, express installation without a single paperwork, because customers said, I can't give a paper at this point of time, right? So we have done, you know, overnight changes, deployments over the weekends for thousands of users, right, without a single paper. So the belief that we bring to the table, the trust that Tata as a brand brings in, right, as we will deliver kind of a thing, and also the fact that, you know, we focus on what the customer needs rather than, you know, just one-time deployment is, I believe, a combination is potent between us and Cisco. Vaibhav, do you want to add something out here?
Absolutely. It's just not so. I'm sure you believe that technology is being provided by Cisco, and we've been driving the technology envelope. But how do you use technology? It will be useless if you've got all the technology, but I'm not able to hit the correct buttons and start using it. That's where Tata Communication comes in. And not only just because of their technical expertise, but because of their experience in the market. They understand how to deploy a project, how to handle customers, and that is where both of us can make a good combination.
So one thing which is a clear takeaway is this: it's not only the product and service you people are talking about, it's more than that, which means that how do you enable that change? How do you make sure that adoption happens, which is very important as a part of the change management, and then it's even future ready. So how do you really make sure that change is adopted in future, and then there's a future upgrades and future things which gets incorporated into that? So very, very important takeaway. Well, before we end, one last question which we want to take, and this question I think either Sarang takes or Vaibhav, you can take it up. Specifically coming for WebEx. So there's a question which tells that since we are talking about the customer experience, the user experience. So the question is there a plan to change the user experience or user interface of the platform? Because it takes time, it is cumbersome for some of the users in the current scenario. So what is the plan to simplify this?
I can take that up. See, we've done a lot of changes. You should join into any meeting which is 40.9. The current one that you're using is on 40.9. We've simplified the user interface. We've made much more better the icons and their meanings. We've got English apart from the icon. We've also doing, this is the vision that has been laid out by our head, which is Jitu Patel for collaboration in Cisco. Try to reduce the number of clicks. We are joining into a WebEx meeting in just 4 clicks. We are gonna do that, reduce that as well. At the same point of time, we have to balance out between the functionalities that we provide to the users and security. Mind you, we're not gonna compromise on security. At the same point of time, we are gonna make it much more simpler. So that's a commitment from Cisco side. And we're gonna juggle that difficult task of secure as well as making it very simple. And I'm sure with the kind of efforts that we are putting in, the feedback that we are getting from you and we are giving it back to our, you will see drastic change that is happening in our UI.
Thanks. So clearly the answer again is this. Yes, this change will happen, and obviously there's a lot of work which has already happened, and the one which we have seen as a part of the noise cancellation and all, it's all about experience. So maybe it's not on UI, but yes, it's experience. So that is clearly evident. So thanks a lot, gentlemen. Like it was wonderful talking to all of you. I'm sure the audience would have gathered a lot in terms of the collaboration which Tatacom and Cisco brings to the table, and this is how the connected future experience comes to life. So thanks for the timing, and over to you, Krishna. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Firoz.
Yeah, thank you all. That was indeed an impressive, interesting, and innovative discussion. So with that, let me now welcome Devdutt Patnaik, Indian mythologist, speaker, illustrator, and author. And to start the conversation, let me hand it over to Rajashri Purkaista, Head of Pre-Sales, India SAF and Mecca Tata Communication. Thank you, Mr. Patnaik, for joining us. Welcome. And it's over to you, Raj. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Krishna. Mr. Patnaik, as usual, it's an honor and pleasure for me to be together with you today. And, for our listeners, we have been talking about the future, right? What holds in the future, what's going to come up, what cool things Vaibhav is cooking in his kitchen, which you can then deploy in your bedroom per se, or your living room. But then we thought it's also important for us to look at the past and what we can actually learn from the past. And Mr. Patnaik comes with an immense experience of the past. I'm an avid follower of him. He writes on mythology. I'm sure you've seen his books. He has around 50 books and more than 1,000 columns. He has several bestsellers. He's known for his TED Talks. He also has a TV show which is called Devlok. If you have not seen it, please look it up. And his view on culture, his view on leadership, and specifically, he has a book which also talks about how you can become rich. Please read that. I'm extremely interested in becoming rich. So, Mr. Patnaik can also tell you a few tips on that. Before going into mythology, he was trained in medicine, and he worked around 15 years on healthcare and pharma industries. And with that experience, the kind of things that we can hear from him in terms of what happened in the past, what are the kind of learnings that we can take that will either break some myths in your mind in terms of what kind of collaboration used to happen in the past, and how you can relate it to the future, right? So when I was talking to him yesterday, he actually broke one of my myths per se. So with that, I'm going to invite Mr. Patnaik. Mr. Patnaik, I'm hoping you can hear us well.
Hello.
Hi, Mr. Patnaik. How are you?
I'm good. I hope I'm visible. Everything is in order.
Yes, extremely. You can hear you well. You can see you well. It's a pleasure to talk to you and listen to your perspective. I was so interested to talk to you yesterday. It kind of kept me thinking in terms of what you said, right? So if you can give similar perspective to our listeners and break some myths and bring some new perspective on collaboration, on what used to happen in the past, how myths and mythology is so closely knit with what we do today. It's a very interesting conversation that we had.
Thank you. So hello everyone, Devdutt Patnaik here, and I've been working on mythology for the past 20 years. Now it's almost 25 years, and one of the fundamental questions that I have to deal with is, because the common usage of the word myth is always equated with fantasy or fiction. And the reason for this is because we are still stuck in the 19th century. And if you look at people talking today, most of the books that we read are really, especially in the humanities, are from the 19th century. The 20th and 21st century now is known mostly to academicians and to people who are, really reading what is there in the academic spaces. But generally, what has happened with the general public is that we are somehow stuck in Victorian era ideas, and the world has changed dramatically since then. Let me give you an example. In the 19th century, when these books were being written, when ideas like Max Muller, William Jones, and these people were, Vivekanand, Dayanand Saraswati, when these people were writing, they lived in an empire. They lived in an empire. They did not know really about the idea of nation states, republics, democracy. These are new ideas that emerged in America, in France, but generally the world was controlled by a great empire, especially the British Empire. And the king decided what was right. And therefore there was only one truth, and everything that the king did not agree with was false. So everything was put in the false basket. Myth was put in the false basket. Fiction was put in the false basket. Everybody was putting things in the false basket except whatever the king thought was right. So if the king approved of science, that became fact. If the king approved of religion, it became fact. So king decided what is fact. But then something changed. The world wars took place. First World War, Second World War in quick succession. And the world changed dramatically. We just don't realize the dramatic shift which happened after the 1950s. So about 70 years ago, we became democratic. Around the world, nation states emerged. Over 100 countries, each one where the people decided what their laws should be. Kings no longer were an important factor. And then the world changed and people said, whose truth is the truth? Who decides what the truth is? Do people decide? Does the king decide? Does the scientist decide? And this became a very big conversation. It's still there. And that's why you have feminist movements. In corporates, you talk about diversity. These words are emerging. They wouldn't have emerged before 70 years. It's the Second World War which shook us up. And we came upon this idea that, there is fact, there is fiction, and there is something in between called myth. So fact is everybody's truth, something that we all agree with. And it is usually based on measurement. So it's measurement. So when you say, I have 100 rupees in the bank, and somebody says, no, I think you have 120 rupees in the bank, we'll say, okay, what? Let us check data. And we will take a statement from the bank, and that data will tell us how much money is there. That's fact. We agree with it. It's evidence-based. So in a conversation, if you have conflict in a organization about how much your target, whether you have achieved your target, there will be a database, some system which will tell you this is the number and that is the truth. But now there's fiction. Fiction is whatever you want to imagine yourself to be. Harry Potter, whatever you want to imagine, it's fiction. Even our vision statements are fiction in a way because we're imagining it and we don't agree with it because we believe कि 100 साल बाद हम 10,000 crore का company बनाएंगे, 20,000 crore का company बनाएंगे. So in a way that is not real, but it is an important part of our lives. We don't seek evidence for it. But then comes this word myth. Myth is somebody's truth. So it's not everybody's truth. It's not nobody's truth. It is somebody's truth. Somebody believes it. Now that's a very practical definition I'm giving. I'm not trying to give you an academic definition. I'm giving you a very, very practical, pragmatic definition. Because in business, you are dealing with different types of people and everybody has their own truth. Right? And we are continuously negotiating our truths. For example, your customer says, I don't think your product is good. And you say, my product is excellent. And there are two different truths on the table. What will you do? Now, what happens is if you believe in right and wrong, fact and fiction, then an argument will start and you will want to prove that he's wrong and he'll try to prove you are wrong. And you go into what is called Vivad mode. A Vivad, where there's confrontation, there's conflict, there's tension, and obviously the customer will all, and you can't win against the customer because the customer will stop you, block you. You don't want to win against your customer. You want your customer to be on your side. So what the model is to accept their truth is the truth, is their truth, not the truth, it's their truth. And your truth is your truth, it is also not the truth. And you try to work with his truth or her truth and your truth to expand it. So it's a different way of thinking. Our truth is not fixed. Our truth is subjective and it is continuously expanding based on conversation. Not an argument, but on conversation, on discussion. Isko hum samvad kehte hain. Samvad. We talk. So I agree, I take your point, sir, that you think our product is bad. I agree with you because I'm sure you have your reasons, but can I know the reasons? Now that's a very different approach. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you are right based on the evidence you have been exposed to. But maybe I can show you more evidence and then maybe you'll change your mind. And it's not that change is the rejection of what you know. Change is the transformation of what you know. So change, the problem with Western, when I go to international workshops, when they talk of change and change management workshops, they're always talking about rejecting the old. When the new software comes, they'll say, "Purane ko phek do." It's a very classical Western model where when a new idea comes, they reject everything which is old. That's a Western way. It doesn't have to be the Indian way. The Indian way knows that simultaneously multiple truths can exist. So बैलगाड़ी भी हो सकता है, गाड़ी भी हो सकता है. A society can have both the बैलगाड़ी and the गाड़ी. The Western society will say, no, बैलगाड़ी को completely wipe it out and there should only be गाड़ी. And Indians will say, ऐसा नहीं होता. In our society, unfortunately, even today, in the 21st century, there are parts of our country where it makes business sense to have a बैलगाड़ी. In fact, I don't know how many of you all have seen a very famous photograph in the 1960s of one of the first rocket launches which took place, and the rocket launcher was taken on a बैलगाड़ी because it was in the middle of a field. Because they didn't have a road to take it there, they had to use a बैलगाड़ी. And that photograph is a very powerful reminder that truths are complex. And that is where the world of mythology comes in. Mythology is not about right and wrong. Mythology is about your truth, my truth. And the fact that our truths can expand with time. It changes with time. It expands. And that is, in business, an important idea to remember. That is why I use mythology for management. Because when I was working in the pharma industry, I realized that बहुत वाद विवाद होता था. चिल्लाना, चीखना, there would be Germans and French on the opposite side, Indians, you don't understand us. And the conversation was always about right and wrong. And I realized when you have conversations on right and wrong, A, it is very bad business. B, it does not create a collaborative ecosystem because you're constantly trying to show, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong. And the boss is always right, the customer is always right. And if you are in sales, you'll feel miserable because you have to lose against your boss and you lose against your customer. And it's a very painful place to be in. So now shift the paradigm and say, you know what? Your truth is your truth, my truth is my truth. But our truths can expand. We can create a Venn diagram. We can agree on things, disagree on things, and keep shifting. Because technology is changing every day, ideas are changing every day, and we can come up with ways and means in which we can work together. And that is a complex idea. And that is not an easy idea. Let me explain it from a mythological point of view. Let's look at a story which explains collaboration in the best possible way. So a long time ago, when you read the Purans, we always hear about something called, Devas and Asuras. Devas live in the sky, वो स्वर्ग में रहते हैं, and Asuras नरक में रहते हैं. नरक में नहीं पाताल में रहते हैं, but चलो नरक में डाल देते हैं. Now, Devas live in Swarg. Now, let's go technically. What does Swarg mean? Swarg का definition ऐसा है कि it's a place where you get whatever you desire. जो आपको चाहिए वो मिल जाएगा. तो आपके पास कल्पतरु है. Kalpataru is a tree that satisfies all your wishes. You sit under the tree and say, I want best internet in the world, you'll get it. I want the best technology in the world, I'll get it. I don't want to work but still get a salary, you'll still get it. जो चाहिए मिल जाएगा. So कल्पतरु है, कामधेनु है, wish fulfilling cow. चिंतामणि है, wish fulfilling jewel. Basically wish fulfilling. पूछो मिल जाएगा. Now that is Swarga. See how they have described Swarga. Swarga is a place where you get whatever you desire without any investment, without any effort. कुछ नहीं करना है, मिल जाएगा आपको. Now that is the way they have imagined Swarga. नर्क का मतलब क्या है? जहां पे आपकी इच्छा पूरी नहीं होती, जहां पे पिशाच लोग रहते हैं. They are hungry, they want something, but they are never getting what they want. So Nark is a place where you don't get what you want, and Swarg is a place where you get everything that you want. So naturally, we all want to go to Swarg. But the problem with Swarg is that Swarg is always in conflict with the Asuras. Swarg का जो राजा होता है, Indra, he has got everything he desires, but he's always insecure because he has been told, you know what? If someone performs more yajnas than you, तुमने यज्ञ बहुत यज्ञ किए, you've done a lot of yajnas and you become Indra, but if somebody performs more yajnas than you, he will replace you. Which means, tomorrow if a better talent comes along, आपको CEO position से हटाया जाएगा. डर लगता है, competition आ गया, तो इंद्र क्या करता है? He kills all the competition. He does not like competition. He steals the horses of kings so that they cannot do the Ashwamedha Yajna. Sounds familiar? We've met people like that, right? Who just don't like people who are smart. Many leaders don't like people who are smart because their positions are threatened. We talk about talent management. I always go to these lectures where they talk about talent management is very important. Talent management is very important. And I keep laughing because many of those companies, the CEOs make sure that there is no talent in the company so that he can get an extension. Now, नाम नहीं लेना है, लेकिन सबको पता है कहाँ पे होते हैं लोग. सब जगह मिलेगा आपको, पॉलिटिक्स में मिलेगा, एक्टिविज्म में मिलेगा, सब जगह मिलेगा. इंद्र बहुत होते हैं, वो स्वर्ग में बैठते हैं और वो किसी को यज्ञ करना नहीं देते, so that they are always in positions of power. So कोई अगर then they get very upset if rishis are doing tapasya, saying that we don't want anything, and people say, what is a rishi not doing anything, shutting his eyes and saying मुझे नहीं चाहिए कुछ भी. Now that is a customer who doesn't want your products. So what do? In order to get your rishis to open their eyes, you अप्सरा को बेचते हो. अप्सरा का मतलब क्या है? Marketing and sales. तो you will send that person, से उसको deals दो, discount दो, कुछ भी करके उसके तपस्या को भंग कर दो ताकि वो हमारे वश में आ जाए, and signs the contract. So we are all apsaras in a way, ना? When we are in sales business, we are continuously selling ourselves. हम लोग डांस करते रहते हैं वो विश्वामित्र के सामने, which is your customer who is reluctant to buy your latest product. And that is how now you see the story. I'm telling you stories, but they sound familiar because वो मुहावरों के माध्यम से आपको समझा रहे हैं. They're using metaphors to help you understand concepts. But Indra is most afraid of the asuras because the asuras are always feeling कि you have taken what I want. In other words, they're competition. कि तुम्हारा market share है, तुम्हारे पास वो है जो मेरे को चाहिए. And constantly there is tension. So Indra is always fighting with the asuras. Constant conflict. Devasura Sangram. But there is only one time in the world when they work together. The Devas and the Asuras come together and they collaborate. And that is the Amrit Manthan story. So one day we are told that, Lakshmi bhag jati hai, and the world there is nothing, and the gods have to churn the ocean of milk in order to get Lakshmi out of the ocean of milk. So they decide to create a big churn. They use a mountain as the churning rod. They use a big snake as the churning rope. And they proceed to churn the ocean of milk to get Lakshmi. So मतलब जब तक मंथन नहीं करेंगे तब तक लक्ष्मी नहीं निकलेगी. One can say that the ocean of milk is the market from where Lakshmi is going to come if you work hard. But the problem is Indra realizes very quickly that he does not have the strength to churn the ocean. He doesn't have enough manpower. तो वो विष्णु के पास जाता है और बोलता है कि क्या करूं मैं? तो विष्णु says you need an equal counter force. Because you don't have the strength, you need a counter force to do the churning. He said, and the equal counter force is your asuras, your enemies, your worst enemies. He gets very upset. He goes and to Patal and gets the asuras to support, and the asuras says, ठीक है, हम लोग support करेंगे आपको. And so on one side of the rope you have the devas, on the other side of the rope you have the asuras ready to churn the ocean. But you know what? They are competitors. They hate each other. तो ये खींचता है तो वो भी खींचता है. So both pull simultaneously and they turn it into a tug of war. So imagine a rope tied around a stick and both are pulling simultaneously. Nothing's happening. The ocean is not getting churned. And they both, कि तू जोर लगाता मैं उतना ही जोर लगाऊंगा. And Indra is watching, and Indra is frustrated, and Vishnu is watching and saying, you know what, we told you to collaborate. This is not collaboration, this is competition. तुम लोग रस्साकस्सी कर रहे हो, you're pulling simultaneously. This is argument. This is vivad. What you need is to collaborate. That means when one side is pulling, the other side has to pause. And when one side is pausing, the other side has to pull. So alternatively, you have to do a dance. When I pull, you pause. When you pull, I pause. And I can't keep pulling continuously, otherwise the rope छूट जाएगा. And therefore, a balancing act has to be done. Manthan ke liye, so that the churning can take place. And this churning activity is a very difficult activity because it requires coordination. You have to look at the other. You should know when the person is pulling, when is he pausing, so that you can complement. ये आसान नहीं है, especially when you have sworn enemies and your aim is to win. Here you don't have to win, you have to mimic. You have to mirror. You have to do what the other is doing. And that requires a lot of effort, and that's collaboration. That is manthan. When I do MBA, sometimes I'm called for these MBA interviews and all that, and we do group discussions. And I keep telling that, group discussion is a shouting match. Everybody's trying to impress me. When really the trick of group discussion is who is listening, who is digesting, who is enabling the other to speak, and who is getting everybody together to work together. मंथन करना है, रस्साकसी नहीं करना है, tug of war नहीं है, arm wrestling नहीं है. This is competition. Arm wrestling is competition. Tug of war is competition. Churning as an idea is very, very difficult, and that is what collaboration is all about. Because if pulling like this is vivad, simultaneously shouting and screaming, argument. I am right, you are right. I am right, I am right, I am right, I am right. Tu, main. Versus you pull, I pause. I pull, you pause, which is samvad. When you speak, I listen. When I speak, you listen. But how do I know you have listened? When you speak, I realize that you have heard me and added my input to your output. But I'll tell you how clever bosses are. I knew this clever boss who will listen to you carefully. He'll very carefully listen to you. And when you're finished speaking, he will repeat everything that you have said. And you will think, "Arey, maine suna hai." And then he'll exactly say what he wants. वो चंट होते हैं. Because they have listening skills. Listening skill is not churning. Churning is when the output is a combination of what you want to say and what the other person wants to add. मक्खन जो होता है is not दूध. दूध और मक्खन में फर्क होता है. And this journey requires everybody to give an input. It's a combination of many things working together because everybody brings different ideas, and the relationship between, it's not a simple adding together like a quilt. It's a complex weave of patterns. तुम एक धागा लेके आते हो, वो धागा लेके आता है, कोई भी ये pattern कौन बनाएगा? It's a very, very difficult thing which leadership needs to consider. And it's not easy. It's very nice to use these words, collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. But you have to deal with ego. You have to accept sometimes the fact that your idea is bakwas. And the samne wala ka idea is fantastic. And that's problematic because it could mean you would lose business. Or it will mean that delay hoga in success. Ya abhi immediately winner nahi hoga, baad mein hoga. So these require complex combinations of thinking. And while everybody uses words like, competition and collaboration, I think we don't go to the depths of it. We don't realize that to work together, Lakshmi को निकालने के लिए बहुत काम करना पड़ता है, सुनना पड़ता है. At the very least, listen. And it is complicated. And that process of collaboration requires listening. So this is what we need to learn. I mean, this is the essence of collaboration. Your truth is important. My truth is also important. And it is not, I don't know how many of you study philosophy. Western philosophy is your truth and my truth, we will converse and we'll create a new truth. Aisa nahi hota hai. It is a combination of both ideas. Sometimes uska proportion is also very different. Sometimes my idea is fantastic, your idea is not so good, but in order to maintain relationships, I will take some of your ideas. Sometimes your idea is so fantastic that I have to take it 100%. Sometimes it is a mix of the two and a third idea will emerge. Sometimes it is a mix of the two things just for political reasons. Ki bhaiya nahi manage karna padta hai because you have to deal with big bosses out there. So these are things which come in collaboration where we listen and the other person feels you respect them. A key word is respect. Not the demonstration or the performance of respect, which you see in many political spaces. We pretend, बहुत वहाँ पे दिखावा होता है. Genuinely saying that we want to create a great product. We want to have a great experience. And I think that is where the world is going. And I think we need to do samvad, not vivad. We need to do mantra, not rasakasi. So that's the saransh of the topic.
Correct. Brilliant. Thanks, Mr. Patnaik. It was really great hearing the perspective. If I have some questions coming in, but if I can ask the first question from my side only, when we think about collaboration, right? Collaboration in today's world is about how do I collaborate internally between our own employees? How do I collaborate and give the experience back to my customers? And also with my partners, right? So when I look at mythology, right, when I look at myths and the stories that at least I have read from my childhood in terms of Ramayana, Mahabharata, etc. There are a lot of talks of mythology which comes in where collaboration and video conferencing and stuff like that is kind of also mythically put in stories, right? If you can throw some light in terms of how those things emerged and what can be learned from them and what are the new things that we can do or think about from those learnings and the stories that we've heard, it'll be brilliant.
So, what these stories are telling is about different points of view, right? So let's say look at the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, the Pandavas and Kauravas are fighting, and we are told that every event in the battlefield can be seen far away by this person called Sanjay. So imagine he has a database through which he's getting access to the whole market. But it is being observed. So there is this Sanjay who has access to all the information in the world. He has to pass this information to his boss, Dhritarashtra, who is blind. Now that's a metaphor. Why has the vision not been given to Dhritarashtra? उसको सब नहीं दिखता है, लेकिन उसका जो staff है, उसका जो सारथी है, he has access to all the information in the world. So someone in a position of power, the king, Dhritarashtra, does not have the ability to see everything. But the person who does not have power, his servant, has access to the whole world. Now, do you realize the difference between it? So one person has access to the database but has no power. The other person has all the power but has no access to the database. और इन दोनों के बीच में collaboration होना चाहिए, because it depends on what question you ask. What question do you ask? Because if you are powerful, तुम जैसे question पूछोगे वैसा ही report आएगा. Report can be whatever you want it to be depending on how you ask the question. And that is an important point to remember, because when we look at collaborative tools, many people find collaborative tools irritating. I'll give you an example. The most common collaborative tool is a form. Nobody on earth likes to fill a form or a template. If I tell you to fill a form, you will get irritated. Right? Why do we love a Google? Because the memory mein rakhta hai a name, email ID. So whenever a form comes, it automatically fills it up, and we love it. Because I don't want to go through the process of filling up a template. But we love creating templates. Every manager I know, the first thing he does is creates a template. What is a template? So that it makes sense to me. Collaboration is to create a template that it makes sense to all. And that is very difficult to achieve. Because everybody's understanding and needs are different. Finance department wants a different kind of need. The legal department wants a different kind of need. The sales wants a different kind of data. And when people are using collaborative tools, I have seen people struggle because every department needs are different. And everybody's asking for a different set of data. They all have to be the same row and column. Which means I have to fill in nonsense data, which I don't think is important, but somebody else thinks it's very, very, very important. And we don't realize that thinking, sometimes the information is for long-term thinking. I'm taking data today, but it is for information or a report that will be generated 2 years later. At this moment, I don't feel it's an important data. So that is what Dhritarashtra, the blind king, and Sanjay, the one who can see everything, are talking about. So it is not about the fact that they have access to it. It's what do they do with it? Access से कुछ पहले ज़माने में होता है ना, वो crystal ball होता है जिससे उसको सब कुछ दुनिया दिखाई देता है. When you see Lord of the Rings, वो Saruman can see everything, but उससे करता क्या है? Having access to information is part 1 of the story. What do you do with it is part 2 of the story. And part 3 is it what do you do is for your own benefit or for the benefit of everybody in the organization? Now, that's a difficult conversation, which is what Dhritarashtra's struggle is in the Mahabharata. He is not able to figure out what questions to ask.
So what you're saying, Mr. Patnaik, is something that we discussed some time back, that Cisco as a technology has brilliant features and functionalities, but unless Tatacom comes in and takes those functionalities to the customer in a use case manner, which makes sense to the customers, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. And that is what we also saw in the metaphor of Sanjay versus in the Kauravas war, right? Any other things, specifically, when we think about mythology like that, when we think about, people can travel through time or travel, to different locations. What does that metaphor mean? What has that has also got to do with collaboration in terms of, I can see somebody, who is thousands of kilometers away. I can talk to that person in the earlier years. That also meant collaboration for a lot of us in today's date, wherein we are doing video conferencing like this. What does that metaphor meant at that point? What does the storyteller wants to tell us through that?
See, we all human beings want to break the barrier of space and time. Right? You want to break the barrier of space and time. For example, you want to talk to people who are dead. That is trying to break a barrier of space and time. Or you want to talk to someone in the future. Or you want to talk to someone at this moment who lives far, far away. Now, how do you do that? So you would, in the old days, you would send a messenger. So the marathon is a very famous story of man running 25 kilometers to give the message of an attack. So utna time lagta hai. Or if you see the film Lord of the Rings, they light fire. आग लगाते हैं ताकि एक माउंटेन से. So communication is a very important thing, because we thought that if we communicate better, life will be better. Now whether it has become better is a different conversation, especially when you're called for Zoom call every half an hour, every 45 minutes by 50,000 people in the world. But the fact is, we have improved our communication abilities, the technique of communication, but the content we can't control. Content I can't control. I can give you access to all the technology in the world. I always tell people, मैं इसको library का चाबी दे दूँगा, तो किताब पढ़ेगा. So when I give lectures, like when I go to NID, for example, I've stopped going. I used to go to National Institute of Design, and I would get these young people sitting in front of me, and I would say, get your phones. You've got Wi-Fi. So normally the teachers would say, keep the phones away. I would say, no, put it down. And I also, today we'll discuss Vihar, Buddhist Vihars. Google it. मुझे पता है उन्होंने कभी लाइफ में गूगल नहीं किया. And I would not waste my energy trying to teach them what is already there on Wikipedia. But I would make them discuss the concept. And when they were discussing, I would tell them, "Acha, isko record karo." They say, "Why are you recording it?" I said, "Because the next time this becomes part of knowledge management. The next batch can listen to your conversation on the same topic. That we don't have to be." So now their knowledge will improve and refine over what you have put. So the technology is there in your hand. Phone hai, Google search hai, Wi-Fi hai, record hai, voice memo hai. But jab tak ichha nahi hai. See, collaboration, what you provide is technology. What needs to be invested in conversation is empathy, the soft part. Because even then you're talking to one person in the company, but he has to talk to 50,000 people in this company to create a very good system. I always look at banking websites, and banking websites are not designed to be happy. They're so complicated. And I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm high net worth, but my life is miserable. Imagine low net worth ka kya hota hoga. Because there are 40,000 clicks. Usme se ek click matters to me. And in my entire life, I use only 3 clicks. Why am I seeing 40,000? And that changes every 3 months because somebody decided the interface has to change. And I'm like, nobody's looking at it from a poor customer's point of view. So scope kitna bada hai, dekhiye. Scope kitna bada hai in the banking sector.
Correct.
And that's where the Googles of the world, the Jeff Bezos of the world are so aggressive, where they say the customer should feel tum uske liye kaam kar rahe ho.
So, Mr. Patnaik, a lot of questions are coming in, and I'm going to start putting in some questions to you, and I'll request everyone to put the questions in the chat box. So, one question which is very interesting, which has come in, and which kind of talks to what you just said, and it also reminds me of social the one which came, Social Network, which came in Netflix. So it says, Devdatji well said, does all these OTT channels and people are disrupting our Indian tradition and culture as they reach our drawing rooms and bedrooms? What's your input? Please explain in your style. This is from question from Ashish Desai. So you can throw some light on that.
OTT channels are disruption of Indian culture and tradition. I don't think anybody is disrupting. Most people don't know what Indian traditions and culture are. Let's be very clear about it. Right? North Indians don't know about South Indians. How many of us know about Northeast India? You know, when somebody tells me that we are Indian, so I said, you know what? My caste is Korano, I'm Odia, and they have clueless. I said, आपको मेरी caste के बारे में नहीं पता है? So we really don't know enough about the culture. You know, and what we get upset therefore is because when our imagination of our culture is थोड़ा अलग idea दिखता है ना, तो हमको लगता है कि अरे we feel threatened कि ये तो हमारा culture है ही नहीं. But आप वो data नहीं देखते ना, data नहीं देखते. I'll give you an example. For example, what do Indians eat? If I were to say Indian culture क्या होता है, तो you have to look at it historically, you have to look at geographically. कश्मीर लोग अलग खाते हैं, मराठी लोग अलग खाते हैं, Kerala people eat different, Malayalis eat different, Tamil Nadu eats, Telugu is different, Odia is different, Bengali is different. So food is very different. Food is even in Andhra Pradesh. If you talk to a Brahmin household, the food is different. If you talk to a OBC background, it's different. Dalit se baat karoge to alag khana hota hai, to khana bahut alag hota hai. So now when you say Indian cuisine, which cuisine should I give you? Which cuisine should I give you? North Indian, South Indian, East Indian, West Indian? So geography ho gaya. फिर time wise, do I give you what was eaten 50, 100 years ago today because abhi alag hai? Do I give upper class, lower class? You know, I'll give you an example. Ganpati Puja में जो fisherman community होते हैं, वो गणपति पूजा में मच्छी बनाते हैं, fish. Now you tell this to an orthodox Brahmin who eats only vegetarian, he'll be horrified. But it is different. So what is India? So ये जो Indian concept क्या होता है ना? Indian concept is about diversity. To be able to accept different ways of thinking. इसको ब्राह्मण कहते हैं. ब्राह्मण means expanding your mind. Brah means to expand, mind, mana. अपने मन को बढ़ोतरी देने के लिए. So you have to keep expanding your mind with newer and newer ideas, and newer ideas will always frighten us. You know, in the Odia Ramayana, Mahabharata, there is a very famous story कि एक दिन अर्जुन के सामने एक विचित्र जंतु आता है, which is half rooster, half peacock, half lion, बहुत ही भयानक दिखता है. तो he removes his bow and arrow saying that अरे बाप रे, मैंने ऐसे जंतु कभी नहीं देखा है, it is a monster, मैं इसको मारने वाला हूं. तब कृष्ण की आवाज आती है कि देखो, just because तुमने नहीं देखा है, इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि वो ब्रह्मांड में नहीं होता. तो अपने घमंड को नीचे रखो, अपने घमंड को ब्लॉक मत करो. Don't make it a barrier to knowledge. Allow it. You may not like it, that's different, but allow it to enter your life. Understand it and then decide कि उसको अंदर रखना है, बाहर रखना है. जैसे हमारे थाली में होता है, if you don't like a dish, you pick up the कटोरा and you keep it outside कि ये नहीं खाता. You know, if you don't like sweets and if somebody's giving you 6 sweets, you'll pull it out and say, you know, it's not that I don't, it's not bad, God, I don't like to eat it. That is what Indian tradition is. To this, when we say that our tradition is being attacked, 90% of the time it's because we don't know enough. We don't know. Everywhere in the world, you go to China, they'll say our Chinese culture is being attacked. You go to America, they'll say American culture is being attacked. Everybody feels threatened. It is like, you know, अरे मेरा जो old, you know, young people join your company, you feel our old culture is being destroyed. You know, nowadays we are all old people, all grey hair and all that. अभी millennial आएंगे तो वो हमारी खिल्ली उड़ाएंगे. And you will say, अरे हमारा जो culture था 1970s में, 1960s में, क्या great culture था. The new generation starts laughing. उनको मजाक आता है ये सब देख के. But we belong to a different. We actually grew up in a culture where there was no internet. And these children have grown up in a culture where there is only internet. So नए ideas we should be, and then decide कि नहीं मुझे पसंद नहीं है. It's a good idea. So OTT, no, there is no destruction. There is only transformation.
So, Mr. Patnaik, one more question that has come in from Anushri Menon is that isn't the ultimate truth only one? The endeavor of human life is to come closer to one truth and that which binds us all. What's your view on that?
नहीं, ये copy paste अद्वैत है.
अच्छा.
So तो ये copy paste होता है कि 111. See, in the 19th century, na, when the British came to India, they started selling the idea of एक ही भगवान. So before that, Islam, most of the kings of India were Islamic, so they said one God. Then the Christians came, the Europeans came, they said one God. Then the seculars came, and then they said there is only one truth. ये जो मैंने कहा ना, the empire world, where there's only one truth, one truth, one truth. Indian thought said, you know what, there is one truth, but my one truth is different from your one truth. Your husband's one truth is different from wife's one truth. You know, the monkey's one truth is different from the lion's one truth. You know, the tree, जो tree होता है, उसको सच अलग होता है, जो घास होता है, उसका सच अलग होता है. So the Indian philosophy was what is called Bheda Bhed. Bhed भी होता है, abhed भी होता है. There is difference and there is similarity. So some things, it's like a Venn diagram. Some things will be common, some things will be not common. So focus on the common things when you want to have a relationship, but focus on the uncommon things when you want to maintain your own identity. This is Bheda Bhed. So this is the Indian philosophy, which unfortunately, most of the people who use Advaita, they have read 19th century books like Vivekanand, Dayanand. वो लोग 1920s में they died. Dayanand died in 19th century, 120 years ago. So all these books are very old. They're not 21st century. Our philosophy has always been about diversity, which West cannot handle. Abhi diversity has become a big role in the West. Only in the last 10 years. Now, when I'm called to international conferences, they will tell, sir, what do you think of diversity? I said, tum mujhko sikhaoge. You know, you are teaching me diversity, a land which has 4,000 communities. We have more languages than you can possibly imagine. You will teach me what is diversity. And I just show them a rupee note. And I show them a dollar note. And I tell them, in a dollar note, tell me how many languages are there. Then I show a rupee note and tell me how many languages are there and tell you who should teach who. So this one thing, when we say unite with one, I will unite with my God. He will unite with his God. Now his God and my God will be, who knows, same, different. So Bheda Bhed, to appreciate differences and to appreciate similarities, is at the heart of Indian wisdom.
Wow, brilliant. This will be very interesting for people to hear. Next question that I have is very interesting. It says, how do you think collaboration used to happen during Ramayana? Lord Ram used to connect with Lord Shiva and other gods. Is that a myth?
I mean, is that a myth? Abhi tak 19th century mein the gentleman is stuck because he's using the word myth for the word false. So that is 19th century mindset. Please, wo kal British chale gaye, aap aage badhiye. And 21st century mein aiye, where myth is somebody's truth. Right? Now let us look at Ramayana. Ramayana, we don't talk all. We look at the collaboration. You build when Ram is able to get monkeys to build a bridge across the sea with the help of squirrels and bhalus and vultures. Animals who never took care of other animals are working together to help a man build a bridge to a kingdom of demons to save his wife. Isn't that collaboration? I mean, they've never built a structure in their life and they're building a bridge across the sea. See, this is a way of telling. ये समझाने की तरीका है कि जो जानवर जो अपने लिए घर नहीं बना सकते, they are helping in building a bridge across the sea, an unimaginable concept. जब प्रभु राम साथ में होते हैं. So he's inspiring them first to think in a way they've never thought before and collaborating. The monkeys are working with the bears, are working with squirrels, are working with vultures, are working with fishes. So the animals of the sea, animals of the air, animals of the trees, animals of the ground, everybody is working to create something they have never created before. That's collaboration. Shiva Vishnu tak pahunch rahe ho, Pashuon ke tak jalo. So that is these ideas. They're trying to explain. Now it doesn't mean abhi bolenge kahan banaya hai. A literal thinking. The ability to think metaphorically is what makes us human. कि वो विचार क्या है जो तुम इमेजिन नहीं कर सकते हो वो कर सकते हो अगर साथ में काम कर रहे हो. So the monkeys start working together with the bears. जो जांबवन bear है, Jatayu is a bird. There are squirrels की stories सुनते हैं, मछली की stories सुनते हैं. They are all working together to build an impossible thing which they've never built for themselves. अपने लिए कभी नहीं बनाया था उन्होंने bridge.
Correct.
So that is to think about. So that is what collaboration.
So we are almost over time, but if I can take a few more questions. One question which has come in from Nirupam is that how should one look at opportunity amongst the changes in careers and work? What's your view on that?
Changing in, just clarify that again, please.
So how should one look at opportunity among the changes in career and work?
Yeah. So see, in one of the things about a modern society, what is the fundamental difference between a modern society and a traditional society? Traditional society में एक बार जो आप करते हो वही करते हो. You follow your father's vocation and you do that till the day you die. So अगर आपका पिताजी is a weaver, you will be a weaver and you will do that till the day you die. So there's no concept of aspiration. It is just sustainability and stability. कि तुम्हारे father was a potter, you will learn pottery and you will become a potter and you will die as a potter. We belong to the post-industrial age. तो इसलिए पुराणों में इसके बारे में ज़्यादा लिखा नहीं है because these books were written in the pre-industrial age. And in the post-industrial age, we decide our life. Whether you want to be a potter, whether you want to be an IT engineer, whether you want to be a businessman, आपको choose, ये choice की जो concept है, ये 100 साल पुरानी है, 200 साल पुरानी है. 200 साल पुराने, people didn't have opportunities. So we come in a new generation where we have opportunities. कि काम करना है, नहीं करना है. We can actually think of retiring early if you're smart with our money. All possibilities exist. ये जो choice है, ये very recent phenomena. It's a very recent phenomenon. And you won't find that Ram doesn't have a choice. उसको राजा ही बनना है. कोई choice नहीं है. कृष्ण को choice नहीं, वो ग्वाला ही है. Choice नहीं है उसको. वो पिताजी बोलेगा कि जाके गाय चर के आ जा. Luckily, somebody took him out of the house. Otherwise, वो जन्म में he was only a cowherd. फिर उसको opportunity मिला राजा बनने का. But वो नहीं है. गांव में he was just a ग्वाला. So we have to understand this. The thing is, we are living in a world where we get opportunities to transform. New ideas, new opportunities. So you can say that हमारे एक ही जिंदगी में we live many lives. We're living different lives. And like any transformation, it will be, we don't know whether it's good or bad first. We don't know whether it's good or bad because once you join the new job, you might discover it's a horror. Oh my God, what is this? Or it might be brilliant. We don't know. Second, every change will involve pain because you have to die and be reborn. एक कंपनी में आप बहुत ही पावरफुल थे, familiar सिस्टम था, बट उसको छोड़ के आपको एक नया इकोसिस्टम में जाना है जहां पे कुछ familiar नहीं. It is like dying and rebirth. But it's your choice and there is no one simple formula for it. The fact is, it's an opportunity. And like all opportunity, it is risky.
Brilliant, brilliant. I'll give you one last question if Mr. Patnaik, you're okay with it.
Sure.
And listeners, what Mr. Patnaik also said is that if you have questions, please send us to us. We'll send them to Mr. Patnaik and he'll answer them separately. So one last question, Mr. Patnaik, is many stories from Indian mythology are similar to others in Norse mythology. How did this collaboration happen?
Okay, so you find stories around the world. Again, think of it like a Venn diagram. There are some things which are common and there are some things which are not common. As common things are what makes us human. So everybody will talk about the sun, the moon, the earth, life, death. ये सब जगह मिलेगा. And everyone will talk of giants and pygmies and animals, humans who can fly. ये सब जगह मिलेगा. But there are also things which are dissimilar. So whenever you see similarity, you should also ask the question of dissimilarity. As I said, भेदा भेद. कुछ common होंगे, कुछ uncommon नहीं होंगे. And in like Norse mythology, when you see, they will talk about Thor, the thunder god, और इंद्र के पास वज्र है तो लिखता है similar है. But Thor, Norse mythology does not talk of rebirth. It never talks about yajna. It doesn't talk about rebirth. It doesn't talk about avatarana, avatar. ये सब concepts है ही नहीं वहाँ पे. Because Norse mythology is written in the Scandinavian countries. They did not have the kind of seasonal cycles that we had. They were not agricultural. So their stories don't have agricultural base to it too much. So their stories have similarity and dissimilarities. So एक Venn diagram draw करके अगर देखेंगे तो you'll get a better understanding of other cultures. And that similarity, as I said, is 90% of the time because you are human. B, you may have interacted at some time. So for example, when Islam came to India, Islam in India changed very much. Unlike Islam in Arabia, Hinduism also changed because of that, because of convergence. इसको बोलते हैं convergence, when things come together. And there is another concept called divergence. The same people, when they move, so for example, South Indian Brahmins and North Indian Brahmins have something in common because they have some common ancestry or at least some cultural connect. But since they move to different geographies, they follow different patterns. सो उसको डाइवर्जेंस बोलेंगे. तो डाइवर्जेंस होता है, कन्वर्जेंस होता है, एंड ह्यूमैनिटी भी होता है. 3 reasons. Yeah.
Brilliant. It's so nice to hear from you. I could actually, hear you talking the whole day, but unfortunately we are over time. And it was really, really nice. The kind of answers that you gave was absolutely out of the world. It's brilliant hearing you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and an honor. And over to you, back to you, Krishna.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for that wonderful session, Raj. Thank you, Mr. Patnaik. It's wonderful listening to you always. And thank you for giving that mythological angle to collaboration and letting us know the power of collaboration. With that, we have to wrap the session here. Thank you, delegates. For any feedback, or write to me at krishna.mukherjee@timesgroup.com. I will repeat, it's krishna.mukherjee@timesgroup.com. Thanks for joining once again this session powered by Tata Communication and Cisco. Goodbye. Take care.
Thank you, Krishna. Thank you. Bye.